Ron Paul, what you think about him? I don't care. I just think his ideas are crazy. I mean, no taxes at all. Like, zero taxes. Snake eyes. That's crazy. That calls for... You show me a government that has zero taxes. I show you a government that does not last long. I show you a government that turns into a dictatorship. That's zero taxes. I'm not calling Ron Paul a dictator. That, do not get me wrong. I am not calling Ron Paul a dictator. But easy come, easy go. Bring all foreign affairs back. No foreign affairs. If you'll recall with me, before World War II, there was a man called Adolf Hitler. If you recall, he was from Germany, and he was a man who, if President Franklin Delano Roosevelt would have stepped up and either joined the League of Nations or changed the Treaty of Versailles or stepped into foreign affairs and not stayed completely out of it, people like Adolf Hitler and Francisco Franco would have never come to power. So bringing foreign affairs to a screeching halt, being, in a sense, isolationist, would destroy the world, since we are one of the, if not the, industrial power of the world. So, when bringing people home, hey, I am all for bringing troops home. Do not get me wrong. I stand guard by our troops. I thank our troops for their service and what they're servicing, and past troops. I thank them for what they've done. But completely taking away foreign affairs with the U.S. would bring rise to people like Hitler. Or Ron Paul saying that FEMA should not exist for people like flood victims or something. That something happens to their home. It's their home. They take care of it. Your problem, buddy. Well, I know of a president by the name of Herbert Hoover, which I like Herbert. His decisions were not correct. One being stuff like this. He believed in that churches and such should aid people, and government should not give them food. Government should not give them support. Whatever they did or whatever happened to them, so be it. And if you recall, that was all right until October 29th in 1929 is when the Great Depression started. And to fix the Great Depression, Herbert Hoover says, no, we're not going to help you because it's not our problem. That's not government. That's just not it. You help the people. It's for the good of the people. Do you not understand that? And Ron Paul tries to bring all of our troops home. And check out what he said in the past GOP debate. He says, and I quote, "But today, the American Navy picked up a bunch of fishermen, Iranian fishermen that had been held by the pirates, and released them. And they were so welcome. It was just a wonderful thing to happen. This is the kind of stuff we should deal with. Not putting on sanctions. Sanctions themselves are always leads up to war. And that's what we're doing." Now, I'm going to leave it on the screen for just a second. Take the first 3 lines. "But today, the American Navy picked up a bunch of fishermen, Iranian fishermen, that had been held by the pirates, and released them, and they were so welcome. It was just a wonderful thing to happen." Okay. Look at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th and 6th words. American Navy. Now, according to Ron Paul, the American Navy should not be overseas. They should be home protecting the borders. They should be home with families, which is great. But none at all. Now, these fishermen, these Iranian fishermen that were held by the pirates, if you use common sense, would have never been brought back to their homeland or taken away from the pirates if it weren't for the fifth and sixth word, American Navy. So success doesn't happen if we don't have American Navy overseas. But let's take the fourth and fifth. This is the kind of stuff we should deal with, not putting on sanctions. Now, if you don't know the definition of sanctions, sanctions is the approval of a people for an action of government. Now, sanctions themselves are always leads up to a war, and that's what we're doing. I don't know what war, but that's beside the point. So let's put this in context. The U.S. approval of government actions themselves are always leads up to war, and that's what we're doing. Now wait. If I recall, the point of this country is called a democracy. In a democracy, the people vote, and the people have the power, individual rights. But apparently that's causing war. I don't know what you believe. I've told you what I believe. And we agree. Ask your neighbor. Check it out. Brooks and Dorn, 2012. Vote for them. Get them in. Deuces.